First things first this morning, firing shots at me because wide receivers are now amazing. Here's a tape from the show this morning. It's funny.
You got a guy mentoring you, a guy named Colin Cowherd, and you listen to him, but he put this thing in your head that he's got this. What are wide receivers? What did he say?
Once upon a time, he said wide receivers are icing, not the cake.
You tell me some fool that's eating cake with no icing on it. Just let me know that, Colin Cowherd. I know you're sitting somewhere right now talking to yourself.
That is true.
Asking questions.
He's driving into work right now talking to himself. That's true.
Wide receivers are more than just icing.
Well, I mean, listen, as I said a second ago, we got some rule changes in the NFL, and they're really valuable. And, I mean, there's no getting around it. Amari Cooper, I thought he was worth a #1 pick. If you'd have told me he's going to have a 3-touchdown, 10-catch, 200-yard game, I would not have believed it. Is Cris Carter ready yet? I mean, it's been the Dallas situation's been pretty amazing. Is it Amari? Here's the other thing about what's happening in the NFL. You're as good as your coach. Baker Mayfield now has a coach, a young offensive coordinator that is really good. I hope if Cleveland hires a new football coach, they let Baker Mayfield have this Freddie Kitchen because it's working. All right, Cris Carter, Hall of Famer via the Cowherd Global Satellite Network. Cris, great to have you on. Let's start with this. Are even you surprised by how influential Amari's been?
I'm not surprised at all. I say it all the time. 99% of all the guys in this league, the NFL, they're either created by some type of system those coaches run offensively, defensively, the return game, and or the coaching that they are able to get. Colin, one thing that I learned from you, amongst many things, was when I was in the process of transitioning from one network to the other one, the network executives came to you and asked, hey, Colin, what do you think about Cris Carter? There's some stuff out there that people were saying about him. Colin's like, that stuff's not true. You guys just don't know him. I know him really well. He's well connected. He'll work well. And with the system we run here at FS1 and Fox, I believe that he'll thrive, just like you've thrived since you made the change.
Yeah.
Skip made the change. Shannon has thrived because they go about it a different way. Amari is a learned person. He was coached at a high level at Alabama, and he's a sponge to coaching. He has been good in this league, but after the first 2 years, people caught on to his route running, and he wasn't necessarily a deep threat. So people started, they had a book on him, and then he lost his confidence. And then here comes John Gruden, and he wants to make changes, so he decides that I don't have confidence in Amari Cooper. Yeah, he's talented, but I believe he might be better off somewhere else. And it's like a lot of people, you need to be able to find the right system, the right type of blood that will give you life and give you the type of energy that can go about your business. And how the Dallas Cowboys went about acquiring Amari is they looked back to Nick Saban, where he was successful, and they called Nick, Jerry, and his son, and they got the whole coaching staff. And Colin, you're going to be amazed by the number of coaches. Scott Lanahan has a relationship with Nick Saban from his Miami days. Jason Garrett has a relationship with Nick Saban from his Miami days. The tight end coach, the new coach, because Dallas hired 7 new coaches this offseason. So it was going to be these coaches were going to work and help these players, or Jason Garrett was going to lose his job. Doug Musmeyer, the tight end coach, was the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach at Alabama. And Sanjay Lau is one of the best wide receiver coaches. He was coaching with the Colts last year. And I know through Coach Pagano, who's a good friend of mine, hey, Cris, he's one of the best teachers in the league. So when Amari arrived on the scene in Dallas, it wasn't about, hey, all this stuff happened in Oakland. It was like, no, I believe you're an elite talent. You should be a Pro Bowl receiver. And I believe there's 2 or 3 things I can add to your game. You have elite speed, but you don't play fast. We got to get you playing fast, and you have to affect the deep part of the field. So those were some things that Sanjay Lau, when he got Amari Cooper, that he was going to try to attack and add to his game. Amari, as you saw in the interview last night with Aaron Andrews after the game, he's lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
I mean, people want to be appreciated. People want to be coached, but given a plan, all players aren't meant for all systems. Just like we have the system at FS1 and Fox, all broadcasters aren't going to be able to thrive the way that we have been able to bring other talent over, and they've thrived under this system.
I only got about 3 minutes left. I want you to comment on the Rams and the Chicago Bears because we're running late today. I said the Rams are good when they're comfortable. Give them a little noise in New Orleans. Give them a little cold weather in Chicago. Chris, I think this team has peaked. I think they peaked about a month ago. I think people have caught on to them. What do you make of the Rams last night?
Yeah, I don't think they've peaked. And losing a game late in December to a great defense in Chicago, that's a tough place to play. Man, even when they weren't good, they were tough to beat there. They have elite defenders on all levels, so it was a good matchup in cold weather. Man, if you take them out to the Coliseum or a neutral field, I'm going to take the Rams. What you have to realize, it's hard to build a team through free agency in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I do believe if these veteran players make some adjustments the last 4 or 5 games, they'll peak out in the playoffs compared to peaking out right now. I think the Rams are going to be okay.
By the way, you've seen dynasties. They usually end when superstars get old, like a Tim Duncan. You watched New England, 4 ugly losses this year. They weren't even good situationally, Chris, yesterday. Does it feel like to you, with your experience, that New England dynasty is just hanging by a thread and it may be over?
Well, they're going to be in competition. If you look at where the AFC is right now, if they stay the number 2 seed, Colin, if you tell me New England can't go to Kansas City and beat them after they struggled yesterday with Baltimore, I got a little bit of money sitting around, and I'm going to bet that on New England. I don't think the season's over for them, but they are not on the uptick. They do not have enough explosive players.
Yeah.
I think they've had 33 receivers since this offseason in the building. And Rob Gronkowski is getting old. He's a shell of himself, and it affects how they play football.
By the way, I'd like to semi-apologize here. All these rule changes, wide receivers have become shooters in the NBA. I grew up with centers. Now you got to be a shooter. I got to be honest. I would draft half of these teams in the NFL. I think I'd take a wide receiver first now. So I owe you a big icing apology.
Oh, Colin, that's big of you. But you're right. An observant of the rules, not only NBA, free-flowing, lack of contact, and in the NFL, you don't have to be physically dominant. You don't have to have the mental that Michael Irvin talked about. Yes, but the game is still aesthetically pretty. Wide receivers are more valuable than ever. And nothing changed, Colin. You just thought the rule changes, but it's just like, man, cake's always been valuable. No one eats a cake without icing. All right, you were just a fool thinking that, oh, man, wide receiver is just icing. Okay, icing is nothing without a cake, and cake is nothing without icing. So I got a little gift from you. These are from Baker Mayfield. Hey, I got these in Cleveland. These are from Cris Carter and Baker Mayfield. I hope you and you see this?
Yep.
We're more than icing. I know JT Joy. I know you like a cupcake with some icing. Colin, you can't live without us. All right? Good try.
And by the way, I watched you yesterday in the Browns-Carolina. We got to run, but that was fun. It was a great broadcast, and Baker's playing with, as you mentioned several times, a ton of confidence. And congrats to you and your show, buddy. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you for the advice and bringing me over, man. It's like Amari Cooper. You gave me a second life.
Well, you're a good route runner. That's what it is. You and Amari Cooper. No, I did watch. Everybody thinks I hate Baker. Sam Darnold had a great second half. Lamar Jackson's 3-1. Baker played very well. Listen, I've said it before. Baker throws the ball too accurately and with too much confidence to be a bust. Nobody's ever said Baker's going to be a bust. I think he's a better version of Case Keenum. I do not think he's Russell Wilson, which you kept telling me. I said, he ain't Russell Wilson, the athlete. He's not Drew Brees. Drew Brees has got the most unique DNA on the planet. But Baker can play. Baker can play. Baker can make those. I don't want to be tied to some of the nonsense and the cockiness. I'm not into that. I want Russell. I want Andrew Luck. I want Carson Wentz. But I watched the entire game yesterday. Right now this morning, Baker Mayfield is a better, more accurate thrower of the football than Cam Newton was yesterday. There's no question yesterday. Now, I think Cam's messed up physically, but I kept saying it over and over. Baker's too accurate a thrower to be a bust.